welcome to the Breakfast Show on Faith FM with Skafy and Lindsay. This is the best place to start your day with positive and uplifting thoughts.
You're listening all across Australia on 87.6, 87.8 or 88 depending on where you are, or you can listen to us through our Faith FM app wherever you are in the world.
And if you're listening live, today is Wednesday, the 4th of March, 2026. I'm in the studio with Lindsay and with producer Tish. Good morning to you, Tish.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here, both of you ladies. And let's start with our gratitudes. My gratitude for today is I'm just grateful for all of the happy birthday messages and love that I got yesterday. From the show here and after the show, I have some of my colleagues here at the office to, say a prayer for me. Then I have my family members and some of my closest friends just reminding me, remembering my birthday, sending me messages. You know what? I was not a big fan because I was thinking, I don't want to spend my birthday responding and replying to people that, instead of enjoying the day. But yesterday, for some reason, perhaps because I didn't take the day off or anything like that, it was actually very welcoming. All of these messages, I felt just very grateful to be remembered and loved. Maybe just getting more mature and just appreciating more these small things. But I'm very grateful for all of the birthday wishes I've got.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Lindsay? What are you grateful for?
I am grateful for boredom.
Oh, yes. Tell me more.
Yeah. Yesterday, I was feeling pretty bored after I finished my shift here and my shift at my other job over lunch over at the university. And none of my friends were nearby. And I went to look for people to hang out with and there was nobody to talk to. And I was like, man, I'm bored. So I went home. And I was bored for a bit, and then I got some work done. I got my assignment started. So I was productive in my boredom.
So you were basically working while you were bored? Okay.
Even though I was tired and I didn't want to do anything, I just got stuff done.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing else more interesting to do.
So that's great that you resisted the urge to doom scroll in your burden. What about you, Tish? What are you grateful for?
This morning, I'm so grateful for good music.
Yeah.
There's nothing like some good songs to get you in a good mood.
You're going to put some good songs for us today?
You bet I will.
All right.
Okay, well, there's definitely
keen to see.
Absolutely. Boredom, music, happy birthday wishes. What about you, radio friend? What are you grateful for today? Tell us a little bit. Share us one or maybe two blessings that you have received yesterday so we can rejoice with you. We can get a little blessing from it as well, and we can all cultivate that spirit of gratitude that is so sweet to the soul. And Lindsay, in today's show, what are we going to be covering? I'll tell you from my side here.
Yeah, you haven't told me yet.
Yes. Do you know who are the people in Iran that are responsible for electing their new supreme leader?
I am not aware.
I'm going to tell you all about them. This is called the Council of Experts.
Okay.
And we have some news yesterday about them.
Okay.
But we're going to be talking about that at 7 a.m., so you have to stay tuned. Who are they? What do they believe in? Why are they even called experts? What do you need to know to be an expert and be a part of that panel of people? That and much more. And is there any connections to the Bible? So this is going to be a bit of a fun, interesting segment.
Okay.
We are also going to be talking today about Jacob blessing his sons and giving them the birthright. We're going to be looking at each one. This is one of these passages that most people skip through because it seems pretty cryptic and mystic and very difficult to understand. Today we're going to break it down, make it simpler and easier, and see if we can get a spiritual application from that one.
Awesome. So good.
Does that sound good?
I'm keen.
So join us, buckle your seatbelts, turn up your volume because we have a great show ahead of us today.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And we are now going to get producer Tish serving us a fresh quiz question.
Yes, we are. What did the daughters of Zelophehad ask Moses for? It's a big name for the start of your morning. What did the daughters of Zelophehad ask Moses for? Yeah, there's one correct answer in the studio, and we have two correct answers in the studio. If you also think you know what the daughters of Zelophehad asked Moses for, text us on 0491 064 669. And if you need a clue, have a look in Numbers 27 between verse 1 and 7.
Yes, this is a very actually interesting story, isn't it?
Fascinating. Yeah.
I really like that story. Maybe we can get to talk about it a little bit. But before we move on, let me see here if we have anything here on our text line. We have... yes, we have a message here from John. And John says, hey, good morning, crew. My name is John, and I try to listen to your show, but I keep getting the live stream not available. Any ideas on why? I have no ideas, John, but I'm so glad that you listen to the show and that you like it. Welcome to the Breakfast Show family. Thanks for being our friend. All right, Lindsay, let's get into our Bible study, shall we?
Yep, let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, because I was actually kind of really looking forward to
Were
this
you?
moment. Yeah,
Okay.
just like one of these passages that I find fascinating.
Okay.
So let's read in verse 1 of chapter 49, and let's just go verse by verse here. So the context here is that Jacob is almost about to die, and it's the time for him to bless his sons, and not only to bless, but to kind of prophesy about them. When we see what happened with Isaac, Jacob's father, Isaac also prophesied about the future of his two boys. God gave him some kind of a future prophetic insight about their future, and it all came to pass just according to the prophecies that the father has made. So we're now kind of expecting, is Jacob also going to receive from God the prophetic gift upon his departure?
Okay.
And so we're going to look into that verse 1, chapter 49.
Says, and Jacob called his sons and said, gather together that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days.
Yeah, let's pause here. So Jacob is already calling them, say, hey, come here and I'm going to tell exactly what's going to happen in the future.
Prophesy over your lives.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what's happening in the future for you.
Gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. Reuben.
Okay, just pause for a second here. Okay? This is an important thing, because what you have just read is Hebrew poetry.
Yes.
Have you noticed that?
Yes. Well,
how did you know?
Well, I recognize it because particularly Jacob is referring to himself as both Jacob and Israel. He's reiterating his point with different elements. He's circling back and saying it a different way.
That's right. So this is Hebrew poetry. They rhyme ideas instead of words like we do.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't have to end with the same sound. It has to come back with the same idea.
That's right. So the idea here is like, gather together and hear, O sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, your father. And what we are going to see is that in each of these prophecies, they are all going to be written in poetic language, which was something that ancient people really enjoyed doing, particularly when it was like a solemn occasion like that.
Okay.
So let's move on to, let's see what's the first inheritance given here.
Do you think he wrote his notes out first, or if this was just off the cuff?
You know what? This is a good question. I would not be surprised if he did have some kinds of notes, if he was not necessarily...
I mean, he was 100 and however many years, 30 or something?
40?
Somewhere there. He had a lot of time to think about this. He's probably just been watching the character of his kids unfold for, decades.
Yeah, he has been definitely thinking about that and brewing about that for a long time. So, yeah, I think so. I think that he probably have either written down or memorized in some way.
It says, gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, you shall not excel. Because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch.
Okay, that's it. What do you think about this one?
I mean, it starts off strong. Hey, here's some great things, not necessarily about you, but about me. You are the beginning of my strength. And you're as unstable as water, and you're not going to succeed because of a specific sin that he had committed.
Yeah. That's right. It says here, the image that it says uncontrolled as water, but it says that you're like boiling over.
Okay.
Like water boiling, which is also, hot-tempered and emotionally driven.
I mean, that kind of sounds like Jacob too, doesn't it? It's the beginning of his strength. He's certainly a chip off the old block, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. But look, Reuben, I think, was even more, definitely more extreme.
Sure.
Because, look, and his greatest sin is mentioned here, which is he actually slept with his father's concubine, Bilhah, which was his mother's Leah's servant. Mm-hmm. And Reuben laid with her. This is like an ultimate act of disrespect.
Yeah.
The interesting thing here is he ended up losing his position because...
Yes, he lost his birthright as the
He
firstborn.
lost his birthright. We saw how Jacob ended up adopting Joseph's sons and gave the birthright to Joseph in that way, that kind of a clever way.
Yeah.
But there's two elements of being the firstborn. And being the firstborn, having the birthright, there is actually three elements even, I would say.
Okay.
Number one element is the financial side of things. You get a double
The
portion.
property blessing.
You get a double portion. That's the first element. The second element of it is that you get a position of leadership. You're not a new patriarch. You get to call the shots.
Yeah,
for the
he
family.
wasn't the patriarch after that, was he?
No, he was not. So there's an element of leadership which he lost by virtue of his recklessness and character. Because for you to receive that leadership was not enough just to be born first.
No.
You also needed to display good character. And then the third element is, and that is specifically to Jacob's family, there is the spiritual inheritance, like the blessing of Abraham and the promise that the Messiah would come through your lineage, which again is connected to character, in particular to the ability to repent and to be humble. Humble yourself before God. That's the most, not to be proud.
Yeah.
Reuben lost all of these things. He didn't have it. Until this point in time, he might as well be in the lineage of the Messiah. He could be one of the greatest tribes of Israel, but he disqualified himself through his
one act of sin.
Yeah, which was not a small one.
A big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and particularly in that culture, it would have brought a lot of shame upon Jacob specifically and upon the whole family.
The whole family.
And this Middle Eastern, ancient Near Eastern culture was specifically more focused on shame and honor systems, whereas we here today in the Western world, we are very individualistic. We just think about ourselves. If I do something, it's not going to impact the rest of my family or my friends or anything. Like if I do something bad, they're going to just like support me and be like, oh, we love you anyway. But it wasn't like that in that culture. It was like, if you do something that brings shame upon the family, we want to deal with that severely to let everyone know we are not on board with this. Don't think badly upon the rest of the family just because of this one guy.
Reflect very badly.
Yeah.
And you're right. And look, I agree with you. Our culture is not so much based in shame and honor, but it is as well. Like for something like big like this, it would be bringing a lot of shame even to our culture. It's not that our culture is immune to shame.
No, I think we just have
a threshold.
Yeah, a different level of...
Much higher.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's Reuben. All right, Reuben didn't get a great, eulogy.
Starting
Let's look at
strong.
verse 5 now. Simeon and Levi, maybe they can receive a better blessing.
This is interesting. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Instruments of cruelty are in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their council. Let not my honor be united to their assembly. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they hamstrung an ox. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
Oh, wow. What do you think about this one? This was something that you kind of wish you could listen to your dad's departing words for you.
Well, it's interesting that the first portion, Jacob is just talking to Reuben. Now he's talking to Simeon and Levi together.
Yeah, like they're like a package deal.
Yeah, they're two peas in a pod. Yeah. I don't know if they were twins
They were not twins,
no. But they stuck together closer than the average brother.
Yes,
right.
They were like a unit, these two, but they were the mischievous unit, the troublemakers, double trouble,
exactly. And they were the ones who specifically led the slaughter of the Shechemites.
Yes. They led the slaughter, and it was not any kind of slaughter. So the story there was that one of the Shechemites, one of the princes there, he fell in love with Dinah.
Their
He was a
sister.
Canaanite.
Yeah.
He didn't really have the same standards that you would expect.
Yep. So
And he
falling
kind of
in love, one thing led to another, and then
Before you know, they slept together.
yeah,
And Dinah came, and then and they looked to their marriage. They actually wanted to make things right and
yeah.
said, "Look,
we'll do anything. I want to marry
sir,
her.
I want to marry your daughter. I'm in love with her. Yes, we did put the cart
Carpool.
ahead of the
Horse.
oxen,
Yeah.
but you know what? Let's try to make this right. And
Yeah.
I'm going to marry her."
Yeah.
And he said this to Simeon and Levi. And says, yeah, sure, yeah, you're gonna be part of our family, no problem at all. We're gonna be welcoming you in our family. The only thing I need to do, you need to be circumcised, but not only yourself, but your entire city. All the men in your city be circumcised. And in their
Spiritual abuse. First off.
and in their, I would say, sincerity, but at the same time naivety, they said,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, let's just do
All
all
on
of
the
that.
same day. Let's
If
get
this
this
is what
happening.
it requires. Let's do this. Let's do this happening. And when all of the men were really suffering, incapacitated with their circumcision, then Simeon and Levi went down with the sword and they slaughtered pretty much everyone there.
And took slaves and
So they used of craftiness, deception, they committed this violence. Jacob never approved of that.
no.
And not only that, they also stole their oxen, and they were cruel even to their animals because they hamstrung the oxen. So basically, they used
Yeah.
their sword to cut the back of their legs,
Uh-huh.
just to cause their animals, just to
Suffering.
incapacitate and suffer them. They're not even
Gonna eat them.
gonna eat them. They're not even stealing so that they can get like as spoils. It was just like an extra touch to the
Destruction.
cruelty
Yeah.
they had. So these two men were of the vilest character
Yeah.
among Jacob's. So imagine, like, it's not an easy family.
Yeah, and you kind of have a sense of justice back a few chapters earlier when Joseph takes Simeon as a slave for a year while he's waiting for Benjamin to turn up in the meantime. It's like, Simeon really deserves
Yes, and Simeon,
this.
he appearing first as well was probably that even between the double trouble, he was probably a bit of the leader
Yeah.
between them. So he said, look, because cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. So Jacob is not blessing them, saying, actually, I'm pronouncing a curse upon your anger. Because
Yeah.
there is like a righteous anger, like if you're angry against unrighteousness or injustice, and that motivates you to do something about it. But their anger is cruel. It's about cruelty. And this is what he says, I will disperse them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. What do you think that means? And
That
how?
is exactly what happens hundreds of years later. First of all, the tribe of Simeon is landlocked, surrounded by the tribe of Judah in the south. And then the tribe of Levi doesn't have any land allocated to it except for 6 specific cities scattered throughout the land. Well, actually, a few more than 6.
No, it was 48 cities.
48
Yeah.
cities and 6 that
The
were
6
refuge
sanctuary cities.
Yeah, for manslaughter.
Cities of refuge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they don't actually have...
No.
And they are scattered.
They're scattered.
Yeah.
So they were scattered. They basically,
However, with being scattered for the Levites
Mm-hmm.
particularly, that also came along with the grace and the mercy of God to make them into the priestly tribe.
yeah, I actually want to talk to you about that one. I'm glad that you brought that up. Because look, with Simeon, what happens is they got scattered inside of Judah. They didn't get a land
Yeah.
for them allocated for that. So
Yes.
they didn't get an inheritance.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how Joshua, when he was dividing the land, he respected Jacob's prophecy and will. So look, you're not going to get a land of your own. Yeah, sure, we're going to give you some cities you can live in. But it's going to be inside of Judah. With the Levites, they were peppered all over Israel.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a curse.
Yeah.
But God
turned
ended
into a
up
blessing
God
again.
ended up redeeming that
Yeah.
because later on the tribe of Levi redeemed themselves by being faithful to God in the one of the apostasies in the desert. Was it the golden calf apostasy, or was it the sons of Korah apostasy? I think it was one of the two. And they stayed They were the only tribe who stayed faithful to God. And God says, you know what? From now on, everybody could be a priest. Every firstborn in Israel could have been a priest.
Wow.
But after this point, God says, you know what? The
Just
only
the
people that
Levites.
can be the priests now will be the Levites.
Well, there you go.
And now because the Levites were peppered throughout the land, that became a blessing because now pretty much every state, every region, every
Has its
land,
own access to Levites.
they would have Levites, people that are
Spiritual
dedicated
leaders.
to be spiritual leaders, dedicated to teach the word of God and so on. So God ended up redeeming that which was initially a curse into something that was a blessing to not only to them, but to the entire family.
Yeah. Isn't that so cool?
It is very cool because it makes us think that, hey, I also messed up in my past many times, big times. And to know that God can actually redeem that.
Does it so many times.
Use those things that I brought upon myself to actually revert them and transform them into blessings. Man, it's a nice feeling to have. It's something that we can definitely be grateful for.
Yeah. No, it's so good. It's so good to know that even when God does, I guess, reprimand you, he gives you a new lease on life as well. He gives you a new direction to go in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Now it is time for a quiz answer and a new quiz question with producer Tish.
Our question was, what did the daughters of Zelophehad ask Moses for? And the answer was they asked for land or their father's inheritance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
correct.
didn't have any brothers. There were no male heirs to Zelophehad.
Just
He had
them.
5 daughters, and the rules around land allocation or land inheritance was to go from father to son. And so these daughters knew that their father's inheritance would be completely lost and his name would come to an end in people's memory, which was kind of part of the way the ancient Jewish people saw the afterlife was if nobody remembers your name, then like there's just no way for your name to live on, I guess. And so they were like, well, how about we keep our father's name going by getting a special exemption, getting a special consideration in amongst these rules.
Yeah. But there's an interesting thing there because this was not a rule from God.
No.
This was just a tradition that they had, and they just like, yeah, I mean, inheritance, let's just pass it on to our to the males, to the sons, and so on. And then when they came to Moses, actually Moses says, I don't know what to do. So he said, let me talk to God about it. And he talked to God, and God says, of course, give them the inheritance. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
And then Moses says, yeah, just talk to God, and yes, you have the inheritance. What I think is very interesting is, sorry?
Was it Joshua or was it Moses?
I believe it was Moses.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Moses, in terms of Moses. And then what I find really interesting is that when you read the story of Job,
Yeah.
Job gave an inheritance to his daughters,
His
just
3
the
daughters.
same
Yeah.
as he gave to his son. So Job was really ahead of his time because he was
That's true, he
around the same
was.
time of the
A little
patriarchs,
bit ahead of
Isaac and
that.
so on.
Yeah.
Way above. So Job already understood something about God.
Yeah.
That God does not treat, women worse than men.
Yeah.
So he just like, it's a non-thing.
Yeah.
But even for Moses, he was like scratching his head and thinking,
This is so out of the
what
box.
should
What do
I
we do?
do? What do I do? God, can you please help? It's a very difficult matter. And God says,
Just
Moses, just give them the land.
Although he also had to give, he did give these daughters special rules that they weren't allowed to marry outside of their tribe so that the land would not
Yes.
end up in a different tribal allocation
That's
over
right.
time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting stipulations there. Mm-hmm. There you go.
All right, producer Tish, do you have a new quiz question for us?
I do. Jephthah
Yep.
vowed to sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house if he won the battle against the Ammonites. What came out of his house? We have 1 correct answer and 2 correct answers. Let me read it again. It's a bit of a long one. Jephthah vowed to sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house if he won the battle against the Ammonites.
This
what
is-
came out of his house?
This
This is
is
a cringe story.
actually my favorite, obscure Bible story.
Oh, really? Is
Ooh,
that your
yeah.
favorite obscure Bible story? Okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
one that not many people know about, but it's
Yeah, right.
tragic.
I had a lot to do with that story
Yeah.
because I had a friend named Jephthah.
Okay.
So it's like, why is your name Jephthah? And then I was reading the Bible, I was like, oh, this is a very interesting story. Bit tragic, actually, but very
Yeah.
interesting.
I'll read it one more time because it's a big one for anyone who is listening. Jephthah vowed to sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house if he won the battle against the Ammonites. So if you can tell us what that thing was, or what it was, 0491 064 669. Let us know.
Let us know here.
Alrighty.
And thank you so much for our friends that are playing the quiz game along with us. I have been seeing here messages from Valme, and David, and others that are participating here. Thank you so much for playing along.
Yeah. All right. Good times.
Okay, let's get in. So we're talking about Levi. We're talking about how they would be dispersed, and this exactly happened as well. All right, let's look into Judah. Let's see if Judah is also going to get a hard time here.
Yeah, I just wanted to pause. These things did happen, but they happened over 400 years later.
Yeah.
So sometimes we think if God is speaking something into our lives, it's going to happen like next week.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
love it.
Often there is a great deal of delay between the time that God speaks and the time it takes to actually be enacted.
Such a good point.
And I think we are all in a bit of a rush to get to whatever is next.
Think, I want it now, and I want it yesterday. God things are for yesterday. There is a gap between God's promises and the actual time of the fulfillment.
Almost every prophecy in Scripture had a long period of time of waiting. Almost none of them were immediate.
Yes, that's right. And the interesting thing about that, even in Jesus' miracles, for example, the lady that Jesus healed instantly from her flow of blood, how long was she?
12 years waiting.
She was 12 years praying and waiting until something happened. The man that was paralyzed, that was hoping to get taken to the tank of Bethesda, how long was he there? I think like 30 years. Hoping that God is going to do something to them. There is this concept in the Bible called waiting on the Lord.
Yeah.
It is one of the utmost absolute virtues that God wants us to develop in our character.
It's so important,
waiting
and it's
on
so
the Lord.
difficult because, and I feel this one very strongly, because you cannot be in control. Because it really teaches you very slowly, one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 month, 1 year at a time, that you are not in control.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a good relationship with God, He desires you to trust Him.
Yeah.
And trusting means waiting and not trying to manipulate the situation in your own favor. As I'm studying through Genesis and the first 5 books of the Bible at the moment, something I'm seeing over and over is that when God gave the patriarchs, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, promises, they only came to pass in God's way that He spoke when the person was not in control of the situation. But as soon as they tried to become a part of manipulating the situation, things were just getting out of hand. We see this with Jacob. We see this with Abraham trying to get an heir, and that goes sideways multiple times. But when we wait on God and we just completely take the hands off,
trust the process, trust in God, trust in His word.
It takes a long time, and it develops our character. It develops our relationship and our connection with God. But that's the only way to do it.
It should be relieving, actually. It should be like, you know what? It's in God's hands. It's going to take His time. I don't need to hurry it. It's not going to be by my own strength. It should actually bring peace.
Should.
I actually blame. Look, it's not your fault, radio friend, if you are impatient with God's promises.
I'm impatient, heaps.
It's not your fault. You know why? I'll tell you who to blame on this one. We can blame on our society, our immediatist society, because
yes,
I had one of the best object lessons that I had in waiting on God was when I was starting a garden.
Yeah.
Like, because we are so far removed from our food and agriculture, we have no idea what waiting is. You're hungry, you go to the drive-through of a fast food restaurant, and in 2 minutes you have a hot meal right in front of you. Back in the days, if you want bread, okay, let's start with the bread that you're eating today. You started doing this bread 1 year ago.
Yeah.
When you're preparing the soil,
Yeah.
you're planting the seed, and then you plant the seed, nothing happens. And then you're waiting for the rains. Then the rain comes, and you see a tiny little blade, and it takes forever for that plant to grow. And after it grows, you harvest the grain.
You got to beat it out.
You have to beat it out. Then you have to mill it. Put a lot of strength using a very heavy millstone.
You got to get some good
you get a
sourdough
flour.
starter to get it to rise nicely if you don't want it just to be flat.
That's right. So you have to do that. And then you have to also mix with water. Well, water, you have to walk down to the river with a heavy bucket.
On top of your head.
Top of your head, come back up. And then you need olive oil. Olive oil. Like you plant, the day that you plant these olive trees, it will take at least a good 10 years for it to start yielding anything to you. And then you have to get the olives and take them out of the pit and press them. So everything took so long. People were used to waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting is
working
part of
for
life.
their meal.
That's right. In our society, we don't. That's why we think we want everything for yesterday.
Yeah.
We have computers, have internet. Like if I want to talk to you, Lindsay, I send a message on my phone and boom, it's automatically in you. It doesn't matter how far you are. You can be in the other side of the world.
And just so you know, if you don't get a message back from me, it's not because it took pigeons to get the message to me and whatever. It's just because I didn't respond. I saw it and I just didn't
which
text you back.
Which is a good thing. And I think that I'm wanting to work myself in a place that, you know what, I don't want to be responding to emails and messages straight away. I actually want to maybe check my messages maybe once, maybe twice a day.
Well, good luck.
And then spend the rest of I already do this for the for my happiness and sanity and to the frustration of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I often do this. I'm not going to be responding. I have a cluster time. I'm going to respond because I want to have my brain free so that I can do other things.
Yeah.
Because if I'm dividing my attention all the time,
you get nothing done.
You get really nothing done.
And it's just
reacting.
frazzling. Yeah. How did we get onto this topic? We've wandered
We're talking
away.
about waiting.
We're waiting on God.
Waiting on the Lord and just saying like how, you know what, plant a garden, start a garden, plant one plant.
Yeah.
Just see it growing, see how long it takes. And that will give you a glimpse of, you know what, God is doing something. He's sowing seeds. He's growing them in his time. And this is the thing. There's no point in rushing. If have you ever tried getting a green banana from the banana plant?
And you want to eat that straight away? No, you got to wait for it to ripen to the perfect amount of sweetness and brown spots, but not too many brown spots.
That's right. That's right. So the same thing with God. God, we ask something from God. God cannot rush the process. If you rush the processes, he can, that can actually ruin the whole fruit that he's trying to develop in our lives. So, hey, ask God to help me to be patient. Try to do some things.
In a more patient season of my life, I would say to God, as I was waiting on a particular promise, I was like, okay, God, I trust you. You're making a masterpiece. I'm going to let you take as long as you want. I haven't prayed that for a little while. That's a good reminder.
Yeah. God, I'm trusting your timing.
Yeah, I'm choosing to trust you. You just take as long as you need. Yes. I am expecting the best. So you take all the time that you need. In
particular, I'll say this, particularly to the young ladies and boys out there that get really antsy and anxious, for finding their one true love, the love of their life, the person that's going to be their spouse, and so on. And then you're seeing the clock ticking here, and you're getting any younger, and you're starting thinking, should I compromise on this one? Should I just accept anyone? The first thing that comes out of the house, should I kind of, to use a bit of a Jephthah analogy here? Because a lot of people do fall into that, and I have seen a lot of amazing, brilliant men and women that just settled for someone to say, that will do. Yeah, that will do. That's not God's ideal, but you know what? It's good enough.
They've got a pulse and they seem to like me. So
yeah. Because what? Because they cannot wait on the Lord.
We got Tish cracking up in the corner.
Why are you cracking up there, Tish? Can't tell us what's brewing through your mind.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just a really funny way to say that.
It is a thought that crosses my mind sometimes.
Yeah, so. No, I hear it. I hear that, unfortunately, quite a lot.
That sentiment.
That sentiment is pretty common these days.
So what sentiment again?
If they've got a pulse and they vaguely like me, they'll do.
If he's breathing and kind and got all the correct vital signs, you'll be right.
Look,
I'm a nursing student.
Look at all the stories in the Bible. No, thanks for that, Professor. That was really good. But all the stories in the Bible, it's usually he waits until the very, very, very last moment.
Yeah.
Just so he can test our trust and our patience. And in these moments, this is how to say, well, you know what's the difference between a courageous man and any other kind of man?
What?
Is that a brave man is just courageous for 5 minutes longer than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps pushing. Actually, one of the things when God called me into ministry, he said, it's not over till it's over. And that phrase has helped me push through some really difficult moments many times over where I'm like, hey, I want to give up right now, but God has said it's not over till it's over. And that's perseverance. It's pushing through. It's courage. It's facing down some really difficult moments and being like, I'm going to keep pushing through, even though I know it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
But God has called me to this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this is it. And I think that there's a paradox here. I think that once we finally learn, when God tests our character enough and he realizes, okay, my daughter knows how to wait. My son knows how to wait. You know what? Therefore, I don't need to make them wait so much. They can get things a bit quicker now. So the longer you are willing to accept and to wait for God to do something, the quicker God can actually do that. Yeah.
I've tried to trick myself into being like, okay, I'm completely fine with waiting. God,
but God knows.
You can bring him now.
Yeah, you can bring him now. And God says, I don't know about that, Lindsay.
I actually, because like Abraham and Sarah waited 25 years to have a child from the time that they were specifically beginning to trust in God for this.
Yeah.
Not just the other 75 years of their life. They were Abraham was 75 years old when God gave him the promise of an heir. When Sarah was already 65 years old and she was well past the age of childbearing. And then another 25 years goes past before she has a child at the age of 90 and he's 100. Like, all those years is like, this is an impossible promise. Like, God didn't really say that. That's just a figment. We just dreamt that up.
Yeah. Or with Moses, when Moses waited 40 years before thinking that he would be liberating the Israelites from the hands of the Egyptians.
Well, I think he just completely gave up on Egypt and his own people, and he was just like, I'm a Midianite now. Like, I'm out here in the desert. Like, my life is over. I'm not going to be the Pharaoh anymore. I'm just lucky to be alive out here with these sheep. So
it takes time. So I love it. That's a great application from that one. We haven't gone into the Judas blessing yet. We're going to be talking about it tomorrow. Because I think that in Judas' blessings, everything's going to change now.
Okay.
So far, we have only seen some pretty bad curses.
We've got 3 bad big brothers.
Yes. What is going to be the lot of Judah?
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
We're back with the Faith FM Breakfast Show. This is Skafy and Lindsay.
That's right. And Lindsay, we're talking about waiting on the Lord. This is such an important discipline, one that we are all students and forever will be students. But talking about waiting, one of the things that we have to also wait for is not only in regards to things pertaining to our own life, but also in regards to things pertaining to the world. We also have to wait for the things that need to come to pass in the world to happen before Jesus can return. And one of the best ways to do this is understanding the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation. And I actually have a book here. It's called Understanding Daniel and Revelation by Mark Finley.
Oh.
And that book helps us to understand both of these amazing books, how they are related together, and how they can help us to wait more patiently until all of that needs to be fulfilled. So if you are interested in learning more about Daniel and Revelation, if these 2 books, particularly the book of Revelation, has been a big mystery box to you, it means that you needed to have someone a good teacher to help you to understand, to compare, to see how to interpret these books according to the Bible's rules of interpretation. And that book will help you do exactly that. So if you'd like to get a copy of that book, you text me here with the hashtag understanding. Hashtag understanding to 0491 064 669, hashtag understanding. And we have a few copies of these books and we can send it to you for absolutely free today. Thank you very much for playing along with us. And now we're going to be answering the quiz question. Producer Tish sent us a little curveball there, a little lesser known story from the book of Judges.
Yes, we like curveballs this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So the question, just to recap, was Jephthah vowed to sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house if he won a battle against the Ammonites. And that was actually his daughter.
Yes.
His one and only
His
child.
One and only child. And that can be found in Judges 11:30 to 40.
Yeah. There's a bit of debate about whether he actually sacrificed her as such.
A
or
little bit of debate. But
There's a bit of debate, or some people think that she just lived as a virgin for the rest of her days and just didn't live the
Yeah,
full life.
I don't really buy that
I don't
story.
necessarily buy that either.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the text, look,
'Cause-
Jephthah wanted to sacrifice, he was thinking in his mind, the first animal
First animal
that came
yeah.
out. But he says the first thing, and this is actually, there's a thing. A lot of people say, hey, why did God allow to do this? There was a provision in the law of Moses that if you made a vow to God that was contrary to the law of God, you actually were not obligated to fulfill it.
Yeah. However, so Jephthah probably wasn't fully aware of that. There was
No.
a great deal of lack of understanding of the
That's
word of
right.
God. And throughout the book of Judges, it repeatedly says that every man did what was right in his own eyes.
That's right.
And they had their own priestly systems that they set up. They did all sorts of things that were just completely crazy and not
They were
according-
loosely based in the Bible, but definitely not following
Certainly
the wisdom
not.
of the Bible.
Yeah, and so God did not commend this. He did not require this or ask for this.
No.
But it just happened.
And he could get very easily, if anybody knew the word of Moses, which was not too far away from them, you say, hey, Jephthah, really, look, you don't need to fulfill that vow. It's an illegal vow, so just relax.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.